Well, it's been long overdue. Welcome back, or maybe a first-time welcome to you is also needed. But yeah, welcome to the podcast, Vital Moments. My name is David. I'm joined by my dad, who happens to be the lead pastor. Happens to be.
I just kind of fell into this.
You just kind of fell into it. I felt a call on my life. Um, But yeah, it is the Vital Moments podcast where we wrap up Sunday mornings, and we took the summer off
Yep.
from these conversations for our connect groups, or people listening and just kind of wanting maybe a little bit more. And first off, I gotta say, how was your summer?
My summer was fantastic. Had a nice summer break,
Yeah.
which we spent about 3 weeks at our trailer that we got this summer, which was really amazing. And then we also had a retreat. Your mother, Desiree, and I went away for 10 days to Florida on a work retreat and literally just hammered down stuff for the church and the future, and we worked real hard on stuff, so it was great. It was a great summer. And how about you?
Yeah, same thing for us and my family, and we we just really enjoyed our time off that we got.
Yeah,
And Hannah and I were very much like appreciative of just like realigning, getting back to the basics in ways
yeah,
of, okay, how's our marriage doing? It's not like we weren't taking care of it before, but it was
yeah.
just this moment of, okay, Hannah and I, two girls, just getting time away and just kind of getting ready for the fall and praying, okay, God, what are you going to do this fall? Which is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Personally, but also for the church too. It's just incredible to see that time away. So, and yeah, I'm pumped for this. I'm kind of pumped for this kickoff too, for this relaunching of the Vital Moments podcast for the fall time and for
I
Vital Point
know.
Church. And
Our regular listeners, or maybe I should say regular watchers, I wonder if they can identify the difference in my setup.
I already know what's up. Yeah, I noticed it right when you turned the Zoom on.
You did?
Yeah, you took
Really?
you took your big
Dude.
thing down. Your big poster thing
I
with
was
like,
messing with you.
did you do that on purpose? Is that like a
Yeah,
immediate change that's happening all the time now?
yeah, yeah. I love change. So
I love that.
yeah.
Dude, let's jump in.
All right.
Yeah, for people that are listening for the first time, this is a wrap up. So we open up the conversations from Sunday morning at Vital Point Church. And if you are someone that is like a regular listener or watcher, you know kind of the deal. Rod and I sit down here on Monday mornings. We open up our hearts to what God has placed on the speaker or the moment from Sunday, and we just allow it to become more, not content, but a resource for you to continue the conversation in life and faith. And if you are part of a connect group, this will be super essential to you in growing together as a community, and also for you as an individual with your walk with Jesus and God and Holy Spirit, and allowing that relationship to continue to blossom and grow into something that God desires for you. So what Ron and I will often say is like, lean into these conversations, open your heart and your mind and also your hands to what God wants for this, and allow it to be what it is. If it gets weird, get weird. But if it's super like intentional and allows you to open up your mind to more things that maybe God has placed on our hearts for you to kind of chew on and digest, allow it to be. And we just jumped into a brand new series for our fall. We call it Vitality. We do it. This is like our fourth year. This is our
I
fourth year
think
doing
so.
Vitality.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all around vision and mission and what does it mean to be Vital Point Church and the direction that God has called us. And in all honesty, dude, like I think for us as a church, we're noticing that we need this kind of series every year.
Yeah.
Because life happens, ups, downs, highs, lows,
Yeah.
and it really aligns us back. So kind of share your heart on why you believe it's super important for us to do this year in and year out.
Well, I think over the course of a year, January to end of August, we as a church, people start coming and being part of
Mm-hmm.
this, and unchurched people, non-church
Yeah.
backgrounds, church people. And what I love about every fall is the reset of why we do what we do, who we are. It creates a sense of unity.
Mm.
So if you have been around the church 2014, or you started 3 months ago, it's like the reset button, and we get to reestablish we're actually all doing this together now.
Mm.
It doesn't matter who you are, and we continue to move forward, and
Mm-hmm.
and that's an important thing, especially with a multi-site church, where I believe that this also brings alignment to our sites. Not that they're out of alignment, but it reestablishes the alignment around why we do what we do. So we're talking about vision, mission, and this year I know we're getting so clear in our kingdom assignment,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually unpacked that this weekend. The kingdom assignment for us in the sense that we fulfill the vision and mission
Mm-hmm.
within the context of our sites, but it is also greater than just our sites. It's actually this unique kingdom
Mm-hmm.
assignment to start churches in small towns.
Mm-hmm.
And and I believe that kingdom assignment for right now, over the next number of years, is only going to get clearer and sharper. And I think it's important too, David, that people understand, um, we do this series to deepen people's commitment,
Yeah.
reignite passion, but it is also a weeding out of people who can't go where we're going. And so
Mm-hmm.
you get bold, you get clear, you put it out in front of people. And if people want to sign up, be part of it, great. If people
Mm.
go, yeah, this isn't for me, that's okay.
Yeah, and I think
And
what's interesting
go.
for that is, as you were speaking boldly about it, and I'm going to get you to say the vision and mission statement and then the kingdom assignment again. And then I'm going to ask two questions for people listening. But before I
Okay.
get there, what I've noticed is when a church is not clear what their mission and their vision is,
Mm-hmm.
the people that are saying, hey, I go to this church, can often become confused because, like, hey, you're supposed to reach your
Yeah.
friends, invite your friends, and then friends show up and it's like, whoa, this is really weird, I'm kind of nervous, um something is happening. It's like when a church or a community of people aren't clear on mission and vision, it'll create confusion and less clarity of what it means to be part of that community. So then there's probably how do I phrase this, they would be less, they'd be more hesitant to actually bring people to experience what's happening there. But since what we've seen over the last few years at Vitalpoint is people are bringing more people because we've been saying mission and vision for the last year and a bit so clearly that it's
Yeah.
allowing people to know, okay, like I'm experiencing this, more people need to experience what God's doing in my life. And I think that's what's so great for us as a church, that if you're new or if you're like been around for a few years, like we all know where we're going. And like I
Mm-hmm.
love what you said is it's weeding out the people that can't go, but it's also allowing people to commit and saying, I'm all in. And they're finding
Oh,
their roles and the positions that they play and their passions and their dreams align with this. And it's just like, it's like, holy smokes. It's incredible.
yeah, because there's nothing worse than getting on a cruise ship when it's not clear where
Mm,
it's going. All it does is create confusion, right? When
mhm,
when you get on a cruise ship, it lays out where you're going, which
mhm.
islands you're going to hit, which
Yeah.
destinations you're going to. And that puts you at ease, knowing that when you leave port, you know where you're headed.
Mhm,
Church is kind of the same idea, is it for people to come into our community at any of our sites, that they grasp the vision mission,
mhm,
very quickly understand the kingdom assignment. And if they're willing,
mm,
they'll actually begin to know over time where
mhm.
they actually fit as contributors into it.
Yeah.
And if a community of faith is unclear in its kingdom assignment, then it's like you
Yeah.
just get stuck spinning your wheels, and then what happens is it becomes a social club where people put
Hmm.
in pew time and just sit
Yeah.
and have a few potlucks, and that's about it, right? So,
Yeah.
I said in Poplar Hill yesterday, nothing against potlucks,
Yeah.
um, but I just think and firmly believe, David, that we have gotten clarity on that. So,
Yeah. Okay, let's hit this. Okay, so this is for Connect Group people that are going
yeah,
to be sitting in living rooms. Our mission as a church is to reach people and walk with them as they become fully devoted followers of Jesus.
yeah,
That comes from Matthew chapter 28, right? Like, go
yeah,
make disciples of all nations. We want to reach people, walk with them. I love how you said, become fully devoted followers of Jesus, or you said developing. Was that?
yeah,
Yeah, developing followers of Jesus. So they're
yeah.
always in process. Dallas Willard talks about it. So the renovation of the heart. You're continuing to be renovated because there's no maturity in the kingdom of heaven. Like you can't ever hit the end because God is supernatural. He can continue to grow you and develop you, and it's just so great. But our vision is something unique. Like we've chatted about this a lot with our community, that every church has a vision, a God, like a kingdom assignment, but how we get to that kingdom assignment is allowing our vision to fuel and give us direction to that. So our vision is to be a multi-site church that reaches thousands of people who are exploring and growing in their knowledge of Jesus and commitment to his church. What I love what you did for us as a community is you said, we're going to break down this vision statement over the next 4 weeks, but you said you're not going to break it down in order, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't going to, we're going to start at the beginning and get to the end. You actually started like in like the end, but not the full end, right? You did exploring and growing in their knowledge of Jesus.
Hmm.
And where I want to go with this is for someone that is completely new to church or new to Vital Point, what does that mean for them? And then also the second question, we'll get there, is what does this mean if someone has been around for a while and is like, you know what, I'm all in. How do I attach myself or continue to do this?
When I think about someone who's maybe new at Vital Point and has no church background, like no real experience with church, maybe as a child growing up or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, the knowledge of Jesus is to understand that he is central to all things,
Mm-hmm.
that he is who we point people to. And we recognize that true freedom and peace and truth is found in the person of Jesus Christ. And so
Mm-hmm.
our passion is to make sure that people who have not yet encountered him will have the opportunity to know what it means to grow in that relationship with him and the supernatural aspect of his spirit dwelling within a person who eventually becomes a follower of Jesus. And so for me, the exploring and growing in the knowledge of Jesus is the expansive work that we do of allowing Jesus to begin the process of transforming us from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that work, that deep work of the crevices of our souls, we allow Jesus into. So the more we get to know Jesus, the more we begin to love Jesus, the more we begin to look like Jesus. And so we want to move people who have not yet encountered him and create spaces for him to be in that relationship with him.
I think that's what's beautiful for us because as I've seen our sites develop, um, the creating space is really interesting for people
Yeah.
because what we've learned very quickly over the last while is as we've had vision, as we are calling people into this vision, people are now doing life with people and it gets messy. Um, and
Yeah.
we've got to create space for everyone to grow in the knowledge of the freedom and the truth that Jesus brings. But sometimes
Yeah.
it's going to reveal the deepest, darkest parts of our souls are going to be on display. And in healthy biblical community, we step in truth and saying, okay, God, give me your eyes, your heart for this person. Allow them to
Mhm.
help me understand that they're in process as well. And this church we call Vitalpoint, this community of people, part of God's church, is going to be that place where it's going to be okay to be messy, but it's also going to speak in truth and love, and it's going to be more Christ-like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, after church, after we gathered on Sunday in Poplar Hill, I had someone come to me and
Hmm.
they wanted to connect with me, and they felt because of the conversation that we had around Jesus giving room for people, and we have to give room for people. This person felt safe in opening up something to me,
Wow.
and I sat and listened. I asked questions. I prayed. This
Hmm.
person cried a little bit, and it was really hard for this person. It was
Hmm.
deeply hard for this person, but because we're creating a context for
Yeah.
people to do this, it's, we've often talked about Vital Point being a safe place, and we've debated if that's the right term,
Hmm.
but maybe we've created a place where it's okay to be transparent with
Hmm.
one another and vulnerable with one another. So,
Yeah.
which is
No,
which is which is exciting.
yeah. Now thinking about someone that is like, okay, I know that Jesus is the answer to my freedom of
Yeah,
bondage and sin and
yeah, yeah.
brokenness. What does it mean for that person to be like, okay, vitality, it's the series that it's the reset, it's moving forward. How do I attach myself to something that God has called us to as a community?
Well, it comes from the knowledge of Jesus. If you're a part of Vital Point Church and you are a follower of Jesus, it is that commitment that you make
Hmm.
to getting to know him. And it is a lifetime of learning what does it mean to allow Christ to be part of our everyday life and the relationship. It's the consistent conversation. It's the time spent alone with him. And I know it sounds so bizarre to say those things at times because it's where is he,
Hmm.
um but when you are in that space and understanding who he is in the relationship and the dynamic, the closer you get to him, the more you begin to look like him because he begins to renovate your heart,
Hmm.
and we want to increase our knowledge of him. And what is beautiful is you never get to the bottom until I've exhausted all that there is to know about him, because he's eternal. And so we end up diving deeper into the
Hmm.
of the wisdom and knowledge of who he is. um, I'm quite surprised that at times where, I mean, people can develop rituals and rhythms in their faith and disciplines, like prayer, reading scripture, journaling,
Yeah.
and that's good and that's important, but you can't do it void of the relationship. And so there are things that we do in our disciplines that are good, but it is truly in our relationship with Jesus that the deeply formed life comes from. And
Hmm.
if you're not spending time getting to know him, if you're not spending time with him, then then you're just having religious experiences void of the
Would you say
relationship.
if you aren't, and this is interesting, it's kind of, if you aren't developing your personal walk with Jesus, it will make it way harder to attach yourself to this vision that God has given us.
Yeah, because that's a good question. I've never really thought about it from that perspective.
Because we
Like
have
if
people that
you're
are new to faith. We have people that are just like, I met a guy this Sunday in Exeter. He goes, I'm not a follower of Jesus, but I'm willing to try this thing out. And he's been coming
Mhm.
for like a few months now, right? And
Yeah,
it's this interesting thing. I'm like, okay, like, can someone that is not place their faith in Jesus, how do they attach
okay.
themselves to this, right? And then if you are a follower of Jesus and you're not developing your faith walk or allowing it to be renovated by a
Hmm.
deepening of God, what does that look like? So it just kind of hit me right now, like, okay, what does this mean for us? How do we help people understand this?
Yeah, I think it's both and. I
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how to answer the question, because I think the more we grow in our relationship with Jesus, the deeper this vision, mission, and kingdom assignment grows in us.
Mm.
The more we lean into the vision, mission, kingdom assignment, the more that Christ is formed in us.
Mm.
Right. So as we, yeah, and I don't know how else to look at it, but that's kind of what my thought pattern goes to when you ask that question.
Yeah.
Um, because it moves people from being consumers to contributors, no matter where they're at in their journey. So a person who
Yeah.
doesn't know Christ yet, they can begin to be part of this by inviting friends, by
Yeah.
telling people about the sites that we're, and then they see the supernatural work of belonging, but then also eventually believing. So it deepens their knowledge of Jesus and the active work that he has in their lives.
Mm.
And then in turn, you see someone who is a believer who is part of Vital Point Church, and they begin to see things that are happening which they recognize is only of God,
Yeah.
and it pulls them closer to beginning to understand how they fit into the body and the
Mhm.
expression of Vital Point Church. And
Incredible.
because that it's the balance, David. Our
Yeah.
environment, we want to give room for people to journey at the pace in which God is moving in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
but also having an expectation that we are all to be moving forward. And so there's this real balance between giving space but holding expectation.
Mm.
And I said this to someone yesterday. They were outside of Poplar Hill, and um, they were. I was meeting them and talking with them, and it was interesting. They were going out for dinner that night with somebody else from the church. I said, "Good for you guys. You're new to Vital Point Church. Like, if you're not making that effort to become part of it, then you won't feel part of it. You'll feel
Mm-hmm.
disconnected." And so for me, it's that intentionality in
Cool.
both areas. So
I love that. I think this is a
mhm.
good kickoff. It's going to be incredible fall season moving forward. Each
Oh
one of
yeah,
our sites has just become such a beautiful testimony of what does it look like to be the church
yeah,
in a cultural moment like now. And that's kind of our heart and prayer, is that we keep leaning in. Okay, God, what does this vision mean for me? Not just
hmm
personally, but also for us as a church. Who can I invite to be part of the process? Who can I invite to come and experience what you are doing in the regions that we are planting churches? And it's incredible. And you got something for us?
Okay.
Oh,
So vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. Joel A. Barker said that from this book that I'm reading, Living
Living
Fearless.
Fearless.
Yeah, it's
Amazing.
it's really really important for us.
Cool. I love
Yep.
it. Okay,
Cool.
everyone. Thanks so much for listening, watching, wherever you're from.
It's good to be
Um,
back.
yeah, not new connects. Connect groups are relaunching after the summer. Have an incredible time in living rooms, backyards, wherever you gather. And if you're someone that's listening, is like, oh man, like this sounds really interesting to do life with people outside of a Sunday gathering. We have new Connect group leaders being trained up very soon, and groups will be launching over the next few months and in the future. So just be praying. Okay, that God, how are you working in my life? How can I get connected? So thanks so much for watching. Thank you, Ron, and
Yep.
everyone. Have a good one, and
Awesome.
peace out.